Now it's finally here, the 2025 to 2026 model year Xiaomi U7. This one, the tester, is the top of the line, is the U7 Max Edition. This one, being the Max Edition, is on the 800 volt architecture, so ultra fast charging and buttery smooth infotainment system. This is dual motor all-wheel drive that has more than 670 horsepower. For this tester, it does have a speed limit of 80 kilometers per hour for safety measurements. So for that, we'll have to extrapolate once we get there. Now, first impression on the interior, everything is suede and Alcantara on the headliner. On your sun visor, also the Tesla style makeup glass. You have a physical rear view mirror in the center, which has a light switch on the top. Also have two LED interior lights. This one uses the A map. When you are navigating, you can also activate the Xiaomi Pilot with a touch of a button on the steering wheel. Now, the steering wheel does look a bit different compared to the one we can find in the U7, which is their sedan variant. And same thing here, you have the drive mode selection, you have Sport, Sport Plus, Eco, and Comfort. Now, other thing that's the biggest change for this Xiaomi U7 on the interior is this ultra-wide screen. Now, this sky projecting style screen has three separate layouts. So in the front, this one replaces a traditional head-up display, being that it can be adjusted to show your speed, your gear, as well as your driving modes. In the center, you have your time, and of course, these three separate cards can be configured separately in the settings. As you can see, you can have your map, or you can have a relatively chill and toned down setting, or you can have the otter. If you don't like the otter, you can change it to a capybara. There's also media playing. You could change them to be in the middle, on the right. Everything is really smooth. If you have a Xiaomi phone, of course, you can pair that up with your Xiaomi U7 that will allow you to have more controls using the voice assistant. Now, talking about voice assistant, it's the same as you could find on any other Xiaomi products. So this car is equipped with front and rear seat heating and ventilation. For the front seats, if you opt for the zero gravity seats, you have front massage. Now we can give that a try by using the voice assistant. 小爱同学，打开主驾座椅通风，主驾座椅按摩。主驾座椅通风是开，副驾座椅按摩打开了。打开主驾座椅按摩。主驾座椅按摩打开了。As you can see, it's very easy, very intuitive to operate. Now, one other big change that this U7 comes is that if you are in Apple CarPlay mode, you can actually have CarPlay running on a separate widget on the screen. So instead of any other cars that I know of, that when you click into Apple CarPlay, I don't have it paired up right now, but if you have Apple CarPlay paired up, you click into the Apple CarPlay setting, then it takes up the whole screen. And for this Xiaomi U7, you can have that actually running as a separate one of the three widgets on the screen. So that's enough talking. Let's check out how this car drives. Same gear selector as the Xiaomi U7 turn signal windshield wiper. So okay, so it's beeping for the key, and of course I don't have that. It's a digital key. We'll just see if that works now. Oh, there we go. Nice. So starting off in comfort mode, it's very light steering. Very, very light. Of course, it's very direct. Xiaomi has only made 2 vehicles as of 2025. There is supposed to be a Xiaomi U9 or something like that. It's going to be a range extender, big 7-seater, 3-row SUV. But that one hasn't been officially announced by Xiaomi just yet. Now, first impression is that this car coasts a lot when you have the regenerative cruising. So the battery recuperation, when you have that on low, which is what it's currently in comfort mode, the car can coast very smoothly. Steering wheel is very light. You can pretty much one-hand this or two-finger this very easily. Now, let's say that if you're someone that's used to driving a Tesla or other cars that have strong recuperation, so that means when you let off the gas pedal, the car starts to slow down very heavily. You could always change that in the infotainment, or you can use the voice assistant. 小爱同学，
我在。
动能回收调至最强。
动能回收调到最高了。
There, I instantly felt it. It's in a way that there are 100 different levels of energy recuperation you can change. And of course, now that we are in the strongest setting, if I let off the gas, you feel that instant drag. I gotta say that this one pedal drive, well, if you were to call it, it doesn't really bring you to a complete stop. But if you were to drive this one pedal, it will be very smooth and very easy. Now I'm coasting at 60 kilometers per hour. If I let off, see that this is a very easy and intuitive system. It's different from the one you find in the X-Pen or the Zeekr that I recently tested. Well, in the Zeekr system, except the Zeekr 7X SUV, then that's a BYD seal, that's very nice. Except the Zeekr 7X SUV, when you let off the gas pedal in full region mode, the region doesn't come on instantly. It has a gradual, more like a linear kick into it. That's kind of annoying in my opinion, because it makes it very difficult, very rough to master this one pedal drive. But that's not an issue in this Xiaomi. It's very easy, very intuitive to use. Now, as you can see, it's in broad daylight right now, and the sun is shining directly on the windshield. This wide three screen setup, the ultra wide display, is not interfered whatsoever. Now, in a regular traditional head-up display, you will see the head-up display actually projecting onto the back of the car in front of you. And if the sun is shining and the car in front of you is white, then yeah, it's quite challenging to see anything. But with this one setup, you can see it from here easily, and I would assume it's the same, if not better, when you are driving at night. Now, these are very configurable in a way that if you use your turn signal, this can also go up to the center. I'm sure that you could configure this to go up there as well. But then what's really difficult is that once your blind spot monitoring camera is moved up there, it gets very squished because this custom different resolution. So I'm not quite sure if that will be your best bet if you want to use the blind spot assistant camera. Now let's try to get a place to do a real world acceleration test. Now, like I said earlier, this tester is limited to 80 kilometers per hour. So 80 kilometers per hour is roughly about, I think, 50 or 45-ish miles per hour. The real acceleration up to 100, up to 60 miles per hour, we'll have to use extrapolation once we get there. Now, turn signal stock is very easy to operate. You pull back to flush your high beam, and yeah, the suspension, this one is on air suspension, so it has automatic adaptive raising and lowering capability. You could also configure that in the screen as well. Now, we just went through some very rough road, and let's check out this one here. Boom, very smooth, very easy. This is being an SUV, is of course higher up, it's very highly elevated, but you don't feel that whatsoever. However, me being 5'8" at my most comfortable driving position, I am seeing those two huge edges coming up on the bonnet. And you can see that that is a real ventilation hole, the same on the right side as well. So different than the Xiaomi U7, or if you go for the U7 Ultra, those two come in as a optional package that's part of the I don't know what they call it in Chinese, but the track pace or whatever package. You have to pay extra for that. It's good that the U7, being an SUV, a family-oriented SUV actually, with a little bit of sportiness, gives you those two as standard. Now on the door liner, like I said, everything is soft touch, very easy. Your door opening button, and this one here, with being the red shown, quite different than the U7, is the emergency door release. So this is a physical button. Of course, one touch window, everything is standard. Now that we get a chance, let's see how it feels in sport mode. There are 4 different drive modes, like I mentioned earlier: Sport, Sport Plus, Eco, and Comfort. Now, Sport mode, you feel the steering wheel just a little bit heavier than usual. It's not hugely different, because Sport Plus is the one that they want you to be using if you want to be full-on driving on the track, or if you're feeling the acceleration. That is a Xiaomi U7. This beautiful car, absolutely amazing. Yeah, so sport mode, as far as I can tell, steering wheel is a little bit heavier. Man, this steering is very direct. It's very, very smooth. Like, I can touch it with one finger and I'm literally feeling the road. Everything is making those tiny adjustments. Even in sport mode, the car being lower by the air suspension, going over rough roads, still very easy to manage. Very, very manageable. Now, this road is being used for car driving, car learning. So, like, car driving learning, your what is that called? Your your driver's license learning. So you see a lot of those cars. Those cars here, you want to stay away from them as far as you can, because they are just learning how to drive. And there are 2 of them in front of us. We'll just be patient, and this is a good road to test drive a car as well as to kind of learn how to drive a car. We'll be nice to them, we'll just be gentle. Now that I've had the seat massaging on for about 5 to 10 minutes, it's very, very comfortable. There are different modes, different wave patterns you could choose from, and this one just being the default in the medium fourth or medium strength. It's very, very nice, very acceptable. This is something that Xiaomi gives you for in a car that's under 300,000 RMB. For reference, if you go for the Mercedes EQE SUV or Tesla Model Y long-range all-wheel drive, those cars can easily be spec'd much more expensive than this, and yet you don't get any of these features. Massage seats, ventilated seats, crazy voice assistant, and now that we dialed it into Sport Plus, this is in the most aggressive setting, but we'll see how it gets off the line. 3, 2, 1. There, right there, you feel the power being cut from about, I was able to see it on the screen, 70-ish kilometers per hour. It's quite aggressive off the line. This one does have the same button you find on the Porsche Panamera Turbo or GTS. If you push to activate, it puts you into that super sport, very aggressive setting. You also see the animation on the dash. Now, if you go on throttle from here, of course it picks up. But this tester, for safety purposes, and because the road has construction everywhere, it's quite limited by the power. So I attempted to do a 0 to 60 using the meter, but at that time it's probably not even worth for reference, because the road is limited and also the tester is heavily speed limited. We'll have to see how this one performs once I get a real one, or a one that someone actually ordered for me to test out. We'll have to see how that feels. But in Sport Plus mode, this steering wheel is very heavy. Not as heavy as you would find in the BMW M Powers or the Mercedes AMGs, but it's heavier, significantly heavier than that in the comfort mode. Of course, when you come to a stop, automatic brake hold. It's very nice. If you drive in eco mode, then that actually tells you how many horsepower and torque number or your ride height in millimeters when you change the different drive modes. So in sport mode, 618 horsepower, of course, almost 700, and that number does go up quite a bit when you're in the launch control mode, but we cannot test that out for the test car. Of course, eco mode, still in eco mode you have more than 360 horsepower. That is more than adequate, more than enough for this price range and for your family use. Yeah guys, let me know what else you want to see on this Xiaomi U7. I think this is definitely one of a banger. this one, a lot of people anticipated this one being much more expensive than this, even myself, knowing the price of the Xiaomi U7, their sedan variant. And this one is quite shocking that Xiaomi can offer this for this price range. One other thing that we could test out is the driving assistant feature, but they're going to have some changes to the driving assistant feature. Now this is still level 2 by the Chinese regulation. So it could do automatic lane change. It's not a completely hands-free system. It could overtake a slower car in front of you if needed. It can also recognize red lights. So more of a budget or stripped down version of the Tesla FSD. But it's quite enough for this market. I know that there are the Huawei system that's doing it probably a bit better. There's also the X Pen, the NGP. There's also the Neo palette from Neo. Those systems are, well, if you know or if you follow any other news on these similar cars, similar EVs, more like Chinese similar EVs, then you will know that those cars will perform quite a lot better in their adaptive driving or their driver assistant features. But that's pretty much it, guys. Let me know what you think about this Xiaomi U7 Max. There are 3 different versions. The regular Xiaomi U7, the U7 Pro, and this one, the Max. The biggest difference between these is the interior luxury features like the massage seats, the zero gravity seats, and of course the power as well. Active air suspension is only available on this Max version, the top trim. Everything else comes in as standard, including the lighter on the top, the 2 wireless phone charging pads. Everything you see in the interior is standard. There are also different steering wheels that you could choose from, but that will vary quite a lot when this car gets sold in different markets. And as of now, it doesn't get sold in any other markets, but I sure hope that it comes to other markets. Yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.